Welcome to episode 3, week 3. This is the first week of January 2016. Today I'm going to be finishing off my raised bed over here, putting the wood surroundings on it, and that'll be objective number 1. I like to come with an objective every week. And then what I will be doing is I'll be talking about plot layout. I think plot layout is very, very important, and you need to really consider it when you are putting your allotment together. Thanks a lot. Go. Okay, so first things first, let's get the blue covers off, and we can look at what we can do, and then we can start putting the bed in. Okay, so now I'm going to finish off the raised bed. I've already started doing the raised bed, as you can see. I've got some temporary pieces of wood in here. I've got some wood from a big friendly chap that I know. And I'm going to put the wood in today and make sure it looks a little bit more like a bed, and so that to stop weeds going in that, and it's a more manageable space. Putting in a couple of wedges just on the side to hold it in place, stop it falling back. Then all we're going to do is fill in little edges, push it back, and that will act as a temporary bed until I've had a chance to go to the timber yard, buy some proper pinder timber, and put edges all the way around. I'm probably going to put a little edge here as well. That's the raised bed completed. What I will be doing is at some point I'll flatten all this, make it smooth. But today, that's the raised bed done. I'm going to turn this over, get this covered, make sure no weeds or anything going, and take out all the weeds. And that's one down, another 4 to go. Hiya, thanks for watching the progress on the video. This is the part where I talk about some information and try and be helpful. I want to talk about plot layout. My plot starts just over here, and you can see I've covered some of it with the blue already. A couple of things that I'm thinking about when I'm making the plot is the layout. Am I going to have a bed here? Am I then going to have another bed here? Am I then going to have another bed here? Am I then going to have another bed here? And what am I actually going to grow in these beds? Now, what I've decided, and a couple of things I need to think about is, with having the bed, I've got to think about what I'm going to grow in there. Am I going to go potatoes? Am I going to go carrots? Am I going to go onions? Am I going to go cabbage? While I'm thinking about that, the whole time thinking about the plan and the layout of it, in terms of space, cabbages are going to take a lot more space than onions. Clearly, cabbages are about so big, onions are about so big. That's one of the things I've got to think about. Something that's key to planning with the layout is your crop rotation. I think crop rotation is very, very important. It's key to growing anything. The best thing to do is split the whole plot into perhaps 4 different areas for the 4 different groups of vegetables that you can grow. And then if you do that, all that will mean is 1 year you grow them all in one place, and then you rotate them every year. So in one particular bed, it's going to be 4 years before the same thing is grown again. The other thing that you're going to need to think about is when you're growing them, if the bed's too big, you're not going to be able to access the particular area to get all the weeds out, so it's going to be accessible. Or if the bed's too big, you're going to be walking over part of the plot to get to the weeds to actually get rid of them. The other thing that you've really got to think about is, where does the sun come up and down, and is any part of it shaded? I could have had some trees in there if that was going to be shaded, therefore you'll end up with some plants needing a little bit more sunshine and others doing pretty well just in the shade as well. Something else to think about is your paths. Are you going to have grass paths? Are you going to have concrete paths? Are you going to put some stone? Are you going to put some gravel? Are you going to put some wood chip? I noticed the rain's starting to come down, so I'll go pretty quick as well. You've got to think about your watering. Are you going to have a water butt at this side of the plot and then one on the other side, so that when you are watering, you're not going to one side of the plot completely and then going to the other side? So spreading your water butts around, I find, is the best for me as well. Another thing to think about is, do you want to have raised beds, or do you want to have it completely open plan? I'm going to have raised beds. Some people just leave it completely open and they just plant a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there. The reason why I prefer raised beds, I know what I've planted in here and I know when I've planted it, and I can keep a note of it in bed 1. This would be bed 1, this would be bed 2, this would be bed 3. Plus I think it keeps the slugs down, weeding. I can control that patch. And the other thing is, if I come and just work on this bed, I've gone home and I know I've achieved something. The other thing when thinking about the layout of the plot is you've got to think about, where's the greenhouse going to be? Where's the shed going to be? Are you going to have any fruit cages? Where are you going to have a compost bin? Generally speaking, you put your greenhouse on one side of it, perhaps the north side, with the shed and what have you. I've got my greenhouse just over there. I've got my compost bin just in that area there.